Jets Fantasy Fuel Podcast, Episode 7. We're going to be talking top 11 centers throughout the league, fantasy relevant. Before we get into our list there, we got Shelly on the air as well. Again, he's back at her tonight.
How's it going, eh?
That's it.
That's the best I could do.
I like it. We got the Fan Fest coming up September 14th. That's Saturday there. If you go early enough, 8 o'clock, the door is open. You can see the training camp start at 9. There's 2 ice sessions, 9 and 12. That's mainly the reason I'd be going there. You can get your tickets free online. You go to winnipegjets.com/fanfest. If you register on your phone, you have a chance to win a signed Timu Solani Heritage jersey, which is pretty sweet, or preseason tickets and whatnot. So if you got nothing to do on that Saturday and you want to take the family out, definitely hit it up there. You can shoot on Mickey Moose at the ice lab there. There's face painting, so it'll probably be a good family event there. But definitely get the kids out and see what training camp's all about there.
Very exciting. Very exciting time.
Kind of eager with all the new youngins coming up there. Who are you most excited about for the, I guess, rookies or young people coming up?
Well, it depends on whether you're talking about rookies coming up to make the Jets or rookies who are in the system because you know they're going to show up a year or two down the road.
Oh, true, yeah. More so, people that are going to make an impact this year on the team.
Oh.
So more like, yes. I would consider like a Pionk or Niku or even Appleton, Vasalainen.
I watched Vasalainen last night. Actually, I was surprised he was playing. And his two-way play is excellent, but he should be, one would hope, a little more offense-oriented in a rookie type of game, like I saw.
Yeah, that's why I do have him for the fourth line, but
yeah.
I do like his defense responsibility, his
positional
skating.
Play is excellent.
He's a big dude. He plays rough. Like I do like what I see. He's the perfect fit for the Jets. And if you look at that draft, we did get a steal on him for sure.
I agree.
I think he'll be a good fit for what he is, and we might have one of the better fourth lines if Lowry ends up dropping down there. But
there's a couple of guys on that rookie squad that'll be hopefully making the Moose, and one of them's a killer hitter, an Italian kid. I can't remember how to pronounce his name because that's what I do, but when I do get it, I'll give you a good nickname, and I can tell that he's going to stick around. I like the way he protected his goalies, but when we're talking about the Jets, we're all wanting to talk about the rookies that are going to make the big move, and my big vote is for Logan Stanley. I think this is the time.
Okay, yeah, I didn't have him on the starting lineup. I feel like if he did make the team this year, he'll probably play, like, start in the AHL. I think they want a good look at Niku and a few other people coming up there. I don't know if he's quite ready yet. I know he has probably the most potential, just the size thing, and he's probably the replacement for Myers, but I don't think they'll start the year with him, and if they have to dip into like having Stanley up there, it's maybe he plays 10 games, maybe like just under to get another look at him kind of thing. But you never know, like people that maybe don't necessarily do as good in the AHL come up to the NHL, and it's a different game. They either fit right in or they don't. The problem I have with Stanley, the only thing I have is just the skating.
I used to think that what you were saying was always the rule with defensemen. But after Makar came up last year with Colorado in the playoffs, I realized that there's been enough good coaching and enough good development that a guy like Stanley physically might be able to be ready. I think they want him there now.
I'd love to see him now.
I think they want him sitting there with Byfuglien, with Morrissey, with Pionk, with Kulikov, and because they're going to learn on the fly now, it's better to do it now than to take the chance like Makar did with Colorado. By the way, isn't Colorado just a little bit scary? Wow.
I think this is a Jets podcast. But no, Colorado looks good this year. I like the whole division. It's going to be some good matchups and some good games to watch this year for sure. Contract-wise, no updates on the Connor Liney, other than the fact that I'm pretty sure we're going to see Connor sign before Liney. I just have a good feeling that his contract is more doable. The terms will make sense. He's probably asking for more of a fair price, and I don't think he hasn't really broken out yet. Liney is probably like I'm not sure what's happening there. It's there's basically like no progress. Training camp's coming up right away if he signs.
I can tell you what's happening is Laine has gotten the false belief that he is worth more than he actually is based on what he's done.
But he's worth that much in maybe a couple years. So it's like it's a hard contract to sign. It's after the year he had last year, they're probably not offering him as much as he should be worth down the road. So like I think there's the middle play there where it's like, and most teams don't have to deal with two amazing players to sign this year.
A lot of teams do. It's the timing of the contracts.
Not of that caliber. They're the ones that
look at Toronto.
It's just Marner. That's it. They have to do.
They were staring down the gun last year at Nylander too. That's 2 in 2 years, same as 2 in 1 year. It's a difficult situation for the rest of the team.
Yeah, but at the start of the season, I'm talking about like everyone has the Marner rant, and like no team has like 2 of their main core players that are, you know.
Agreed. Well, we all know that Connor wants to play here. That's the difference. He said so. He's expressed it, and his expectations match what he knows he's capable of doing. You listen to guys around the league who haven't seen Connor play, and they say things like, "Oh my God, like this guy is incredible."
He just fits in with any line. Right?
Well, he's a gifted hockey player too, and he just has that extra thing that you can't really describe it, but you know he has it, and he has it. And if Laine can't figure out that this is something you want to be around, well, maybe he needs to punt his agent or tell his mom and dad to leave him alone. 1 year contract. He can't be paid more than Scheifele. Laine, hello, Laine.
You can't sign.
You can't
sign him for 1 year. It's pointless.
Sure you can.
I know, but then what happens after that contract?
Hey, if he lights it up, then you reward him. That's the point. Then Scheifele can't be upset because hey, the guy got 45 goals and 110 points, and then everybody's happy because the team's winning.
Yeah, but yeah, I'd rather sign him long term. So down the road,
Not
if
me.
you wanted to trade him, someone would be wanting that contract. They were like, I want Laine and I want the 5 years on his contract.
Today is yesterday's tomorrow, though. The Jets and the fans don't have time to wait anymore for the development. They want to see results, or if he's not ready to buy in, they want him gone. People have half the people I've talked to have said it would be okay to trade him, but sign him to a fat 1 year contract, just enough. $7 million, I don't know, 7.5. It would still be more than Scheifele, I think, but for 1 year only, and then you avoid arbitration, then somebody else can say, hey, that's a bargain. We're going to give him 9, and you say, okay, we want a draft pick, or we want this player, and everybody's happy.
Yeah, but your return that you can get off the trade is way, way, way better with the contract behind it. If you're, say, I don't even know which team would be a good fit for Laine. Say Calgary, just to keep him in Canada. Say, probably. They're looking like as a GM, you're looking at a player, his contract, what he's worth, and if they trade, say, like we're talking like down the road in February, and say the Jets aren't in a playoff position, and they sign him to the 1 year. Yeah, they could get rid of him at the deadline for a first round pick, whatever it may be. But if they signed him to a 5, 6, 7, 8 year, they don't have to. They're in no rush to trade him. And if they want to trade him down the road, which I think is crazy, then they could still get a first, maybe a couple prospects, and a second, maybe make a 3-way trade. You have more time to let people think about the trade. It's not like, people are desperate at trade deadline, but I think if you had a few years behind his contract,
there were lots of hockey fans last year, Blair, who, not just hockey fans, but people like myself, who take the game far too seriously for our age and our lifestyle, but we love hockey. They all said more than half, they would be okay with Laine being traded because they realized at that time that he wasn't showing what was necessary, the heart, the effort. All I'm saying is that it's not a shocking thing to do.
Yeah.
Now, the real problem here is that they're overpaying guys like Little, Wheeler, Bufflin, Perreault, probably to get them to stay here, and that's fine. Maybe Winnipeg isn't the be-all, end-all of the NHL, but when you're a young fella, and I've seen a lot of them, they would play for $750. They will. They'll play for 1.5. But even Kopp wasn't happy about the arbitration process, and that tells me everything I need to know. The Winnipeg Shuffle is not going to create winning hockey for the fans here, even though they're going to be charged just like they're watching a Stanley Cup contender year after year. There's a lot of pressure on the upper boys in this Wolfpack, especially Huckleberry and Net, to perform so that the other players can actually do what we all know they're capable of doing.
Kopp only got 2.2. He's probably worth at least 3, I'd say.
It would be if he could hit the net more often with a shot.
He's just the muscle memory, right? He's just a good.
It's his work ethic.
hockey
He does
specimen,
everything
yeah.
positionally. He played quarterback. He understands how to study the game. He's probably going to be a coach at some point in his life in whatever sport he wants to be a coach. I like his work ethic. I like his attitude. Some of the stuff he doesn't quite get, but that's because he's American, not Canadian. That's all I'm going to say about that.
All right, let's get into the list here.
Yep.
I had a long debate. I wanted to put McKinnon first. I know you have him first on your list. I think he's worthy, and people are pretty concerned about McDavid not being ready for training camp, maybe missing the first 10 games. I don't know what the case is. He says he's good to go, but it's more so if the trainers and the GM, whoever makes these decisions, are ready for him to come in. I would say it'd be safe to give it a little more time kind of thing, but I think he's going to jump back in, and might take him a couple games to get back into it, but he's just a player you can't argue with. Like, McKinnon has a better surroundings cast, no doubt about it, but just the way McLovin plays, it's no one can touch him. He got 3 years ago 100 points, 2 years ago 108. Last year he had 116. It seems to be a trend that he could hit the Kucherov 128, maybe break it 130 if everything aligns perfectly. He doesn't have the surrounding cast to do it, so I still have him for over 100 points, but
I don't know. I remain unconvinced, Blair. I love the way he's one of the most beautiful skaters I've ever seen.
yeah.
He does things with the distance between his hips and his thighs to his knees, almost like a running back who can swivel his hips while he's still skating. It's like he's made of rubber. I've never seen anything like it, but he's a beautiful skater. But the problem is you need a whole team for a player like that to be actualized, and Edmonton sucks. I don't mind. Their football team sucks too, but I don't mind that either. I'm a Winnipeg fan.
A cheap shot there.
But I've never been impressed with Connor McDavid any more than I haven't been by Taylor Hall, who, by the way, doesn't make my centerman list.
I am. I'd say like my favorite two players to watch in the NHL are McKinnon and McDavid. There's no one really in the same level right now. A lot of people argue Crosby and whatnot. Yeah, he's a good two-way, but he's not nearly as fast as these players with the puck. It's ridiculous what they're doing. I can't say a whole lot for McKinnon's defensive game. That's something he could do a little better about. He only had a 43% face-off percent last year, but when you come down to the points, he had 99 points last year, 97 the year before. He's gonna be eager to break 100. He's just that competitive player. He's been training with Crosby all summer. They always have a good off season, and the surrounding cast, I think they're going to go off to a hot start, and that's going to keep them momentum the whole year. It's McDavid, once he finds his groove, it'll be good. If it's 70 games, maybe he still, I think, will break the 100 point record, but it's going to be a close race. So you're not wrong putting McKinnon first. I had a huge debate. It might happen either way. It just depends, how the cookie crumbles there. I don't know. But, I think a lot of people though would argue that's the top two. Where it gets interesting is my third pick. I'm not sure if you have Barkov on your list anywhere, but
I try not to pick Russians when I have to, because they've always disappointed me with their character and their resilience. But I have to say that Barkov has to be in my top 5. But I have Eichel as number 2. I really like this Jack Eichel kid.
Jack Eichel, yeah, I got him at 11 there. We'll get to Eichel there. That's actually a pretty good pick there. He could have at least 100 points this year with Montour, Miller from Vegas there, and Yariaku from Chicago. They got it, and Dahlin 44 points as a rookie last year. He could get up to 60 with having that mean power play stay. They want to trade Ristolainen, it's rumors have it. So with him on the move, I think it's going to be good for the team. And Eichel's going to be the center point around all of it. So I don't think you're far off there. He's from that 2015 draft year, the huge draft year. They're going to blow up this year. Anyone from the 2015 started to blow up last year, and you're going to see this year the same kind of trend. But Barkov, I think, is a little more marinated, a little more matured. He is probably the best two-way forward in the game, other than Bergeron, people would argue. But Barkov has a little more offensive side to him. Plays with Huberdeau. He won 54% of his face-offs last year. They got a top-heavy 6. He had 96 points, if anyone didn't know, last year, and he's going to break 100 this year.
For sure.
He only had, 31 power play points, and I'm saying only because they hit a lot of posts. Having Yandel back there, Huberdeau, I think they could reach into the Tampa Bay 40-point range for that. So we'll see what happens. But he's on my been on my fantasy for the last 3 years now, and
He's performed.
he has, and it's just a matter of time before other people give him the credit he deserves. But I think he's going to break the 100-point plateau this year, and he's healthy. He's good to go. His how many shootout goals did he get last year? He's just stellar. Every breakaway he's good. If you look at the numbers of the amount of times that the puck started in their end, where he won the draw, goes end to end with the people, he breaks out, and then they score. A lot of these centers, you don't take into consideration that they start the offensive.
We're responsible
end.
for getting the puck out of the zone.
No, they start off the face-off in the other end, and that's how they score their goals. He has the best percentage of actually starting his own end and coming up with it, and that's why I have him slotted at number 3. And just the age thing. Crosby's my number 4 only because the whole age thing, the surrounding cast. Obviously, Crosby is good for, he had 100 points last year, 35 goals, 65 assists there. I think a full season with Gensel, he could potentially have the same amount of points, but there's a lot of questions there. Malkin apparently had a good offseason, but their power play with Kessel gone, there's a little bit of a question. He can feed anyone. It doesn't really matter. McCann had really good chemistry with him last year. Obviously, playing with Gensel would be good, but I have him slotted in 4, and it could probably go either way with Barkov Crosby.
I have him slotted 3 for City. Yep. And I have actually Austin Matthews ahead of Barkov in my top 5.
Yeah,
I love Austin Matthews, man.
Hey, before we get into the Matthews train, let's take a break here. We're going to be right back here. Jets Fantasy Field Podcast. Jets Fantasy Field Podcast.
I'm sorry. That's a good way to...
That is. I like it.
Thanks.
Segment 2 here. Matthews. Let's drop the Matthews bomb here.
Oh, I love Austin.
I put Braden Point. Only reason in front of Matthews is because the surrounding cast. He's in the middle of that power play. He always gets a touch. He's the one that skates the puck in for the power play. He gets a touch on everything. He's probably one of the better middle, if not the best middle person in a power play in the NHL.
He's a nice player to watch. He reminds me of Martin St. Louis when he was at the top of his game. He's so quick and skilled with the puck. But has he signed? I believe he has not signed.
Yeah, that's everyone's kind of concern, and
I think this one's going long term, like the Line thing. It could get ugly.
I hope not. Let's hope he just signs. And I don't know how they wouldn't sign a player like that. He's the gem they found in the rough there, diamond in the rough.
It's the owners versus the agents that are making the decisions. It's not the GMs now and the coaches.
No.
There's a big tidal wave coming. Some people say next season. I think it might actually happen before the playoffs this season. The NHL owners are going to play hardball with the PL, the NHL Players Association, who have been inordinately quiet about the fact that there's obviously collusion between the agents and or the owners, or there's been a gag order put on them since the Seattle shakedown situation is starting to show itself.
They actually back down. It's just on the Players Association now.
The inability to get offers going from other teams if this wasn't pending a year from now, a lot of these players would be getting offers. They say, well
shit still might go down, but at least from the owner side, they're willing to play ball, so they're good for 3. And now we're just waiting for the Players Association to kind of agree.
I think there's going to be a lot more unsigned players this season than we're accustomed to seeing.
Yeah, you could be ball on that. I'm hoping they sign him though. 79 games last year, 92 points. He can easily break 100. He's good for.
But if every team is in the situation that the Jets are in, where they've given more money than is justified to players who have underperformed based on the money they've been paid. Hello, Dustin Byfuglien. Hello, Brian Little. Hello, Blake Wheeler. Perreault, maybe not. He earned his money last year. My point is that they can't give that money to the young up-and-comers who rightfully deserve it. Guys like Roslovic, guys like Laine, guys like Connor, who we all know
they just
are going to be at the top of their game in 2 or 3 years. We're not going to see that with Little, Wheeler, Byfuglien, Perreault.
Maybe sign them with contracts that don't have a no-movement clause.
That's an interesting way to look at it, yeah. I don't disagree with you there.
But I don't know where, if you even had Point on your list, but when you're looking into the numbers, it's ridiculous. He's got a 21.5 shooting percentage last year. He has a 17.2 overall average in his 3 years. And anything over a 15, you know he's a special player.
That's true.
So I do have him in my top five. A lot of people would disagree, but we'll see how the season plays out. If he's signing, it's going to be over 100, no problem. Matthews, I have him at 6. Where'd you have Matthews?
I have Austin at 4.
Yep.
Just ahead of, I taken Seguin and moved him down because I had to, because obviously McDavid is going to get a lot of points, even though I don't like the way he plays the game.
I made you put McDavid on your list.
That's true.
Shelley didn't even have McDavid on his list. It's like he bummed. He's at everyone's top 2. I don't know how. There's no argument there. Matthews, 68 games last year, 73 points. With a healthy season this year, he'll break 100.
Oh, yeah.
He has the best release in the game, I would say. He's got a 15.
And he plays that tough game. He plays that Canadian game in the up above the corner, halfway down the rail in the offensive zone. He battles for the puck in tight quarters, and he can take a hook and a flagrant foul just to try and get that set up pass. And you never seen anyone who enjoys playing the game more after he scores a goal than Austin Matthews. You'd swear he was Canadian. I love that passion, and it's going to rub off on the other players.
Yeah, he's got a big year coming up with Nylander playing a full season and actually getting to training camp. They're going to be off to a hot start. He's always had the chemistry with him. I don't really care if it's Kapanen or Johansson on that line. They're both going to get similar points this year. Maybe Johansson a couple more. I'm not sure what's going to happen there. Maybe 45, 50 points. It's not going to matter who's on that side. But with Matthews having an over 15% shooting percentage, last year we could start to see that release coming in. It was right above the hash marks. He would just almost like a toe drag, but he would release it at the same time to the point where the goalie would set up, he'd be fine, and he would use the defense as a screen. He'd put it through their legs as he was toe dragging. He'd put it around the defense. I'm not sure how any goalie would want to play Matthews. He's a nightmare out there, and he's finally figured out his game, and I think he's got huge potential this year. The signing of Barry, you can't really say much on his defense end, but having Barry on the power play, and if he's not out there, you got Riley on the power play. I think their power play is going to be ridiculous here, and Matthews is going to be the release every time. He's a pretty clutch player. It was like 5 goals last year in playoffs in 7 games. Like
that's pretty darn nice. Can't complain about that.
That's a big game player, and playing in the Gardens, they're like around the Leafs fans,
center of the universe, Toronto.
Yeah, and to be a big player, it's they're talking about who's going to be captain, whatnot. Like I would still give it to my boy Tavares, but Matthews is going to have that grunt work this season. He's going to prove that he should be captain.
I don't disagree with you there. I like him for captain.
But Tavares is a little more experienced. I think he has a little more respect and maybe a little better with the media.
Tavares is too lazy in the defensive zone for my liking to be wearing the C, kind of like Blake Wheeler. I like the Austin Matthews with it because his commitment to defense in the defensive zone
and he's
is
younger,
stellar.
so he could be the captain for a little longer. I think he's a dynasty for sure. But either way they go with their captain, I think it's going to motivate both of them to have maybe a better season there for sure.
I had Barkov at 5.
You did, yeah. Okay, good.
I made sure I got him in there.
Good, yeah. So we can agree that he's top end there. These next 2 picks I contemplated for a while there. I didn't want to be a homer, but I went with Shifley for my 7th pick.
Oh, wow. Nice. Right on the money.
And only because if a lot of people listening to this podcast are doing fantasy drafts and in Winnipeg or around Winnipeg or know Winnipeg people. So get Shifley while you can. He's probably going to go higher than he should, but because you are in a Winnipeg market, as most of the other players will too. But I would say if I'm going to go heavy on any center and maybe spend a little more money in my draft than I should, if you do what we did on Yahoo last year, it was like you have $200 of puck money to spend on your team, and Shifley is going to go for a little more, but I definitely pick him up. He has a big year coming up here. He had 84 points last year. I think he could at least reach 100 with the rise of Connor. Wheeler, even if Wheeler only gets 90 points or 80 instead of 90 this year, Scheifele's going to make up for it. He's going to be on a more consistent power play. I believe he only had just over 20 points, 23 power play points last year. So that's going to get up to the 30 range this year, having a more consistent power play base. We were filtering through everyone last year. Myers got time, Bufflin got time, then he got injured, then we put Morrissey in. Trouba wanted time too. We had to make him happy. So I think you're going to see a more consistent role of a power play built around like a Morrissey, Pionk. Pionk might not be good in his defensive end, but he is a huge power play benefit to the team. Maybe Niku can step in there. Obviously, you got Bufflin, who starts the year, but he's probably going to get injured. So I think it's going to be built around the Morrissey, Pionk.
That's that age
Niku.
thing. I've been a little hypersensitive to the whole aging process, but it is true.
He's still 26 or whatever, so he's still young enough, and I think he's got his best year ahead of him here.
I don't disagree with Scheifele on this list. I've got him in
my
top 10.
Where did you have him?
I have him behind Aho and O'Reilly, and
What number did you have him
Scheifele, I had him at 10.
10. Okay, so in your top 11. So
yeah, but I got Aho and O'Reilly ahead of him. Although I'm not sure about O'Reilly. I was going to ask you what you thought. I still think Monahan, now that O'Reilly's got a Stanley Cup under his belt, there's going to be that down season where he's tired for what.
I didn't even have O'Reilly in my just missed list.
Well, there you go. So I got Monahan.
Where did you have? Let's
Scheifele.
keep this simple and go off my list, just so.
Oh right, I forgot about that. So
just keep some sanity.
I'm trying to give a relative comparison to why.
Where did you have Stamkos?
I didn't put Stamkos on my top list because I'm not impressed with the way he is playing hockey. I've watched him for the last 3 seasons. He's going to get about maybe 80 points.
Okay, well that's a bold prediction saying, considering he got 98 points last year.
I know, I'm just telling it like it is.
Or he had 40 power play points. I don't care what he does 5-on-5. The reason I have him number 8 and so high on my list is the power play exposure. Even if that drops to 30, 35, his points will still reach the 90 range.
I think Aho will get more points than Stamkos.
Maybe. It's not far out there. I have Aho pretty high on my list too, but as you're drafting players, I think Stamkos is a safer fit. He's 19.2 shooting percent last year. He's got a 16.9 overall.
Him and Scheifele ahead of Kuznetsov. That's something that we have to discuss.
Yeah,
I don't even have Kuznetsov in my top 10, and he really, how can you put him behind Scheifele for points?
He's amazing, but having, you look at the lineup placement of Kuznetsov, it's Backstrom, Ovechkin, and Wilson as their top line. So Kuznetsov doesn't really get exposure to Ovechkin where he's carrying that second line, and they've had problems.
The league is at the point now, though, that line 1 and line 2 are almost interchangeable depending on the group of 6.
Yeah.
But it's the power play time they get. And you're right. Kuznetsov was getting more time on the first power play because he's got a wicked laser beam shot.
Oh, he's clutch too. I do like him, but he's been doing a bunch of blow apparently this summer. Like he didn't pass that drug test. He's suspended for 4 years from World Cups. He can't play for Russia for 4 years now because all that like that.
Yeah.
So maybe an off.
So what? The guy did a little bit of extra coffee. I don't understand why the hypersensitivity to this stuff.
No, he just got.
These guys get paid millions of dollars to be put in pressure cooker situations where they're supposed to play at inhuman Superman strength games all the time. And if they deviate a little bit and need a little bit of extra kick once in a while, I don't care what it is, to be quite honest with you.
He was just having a little fun in the summer, whatever. Right?
They're human beings.
But maybe he's been partying too much in the offseason. It just raises questions that maybe I don't have him on my list because I'm not sure if maybe he's partying a bit too much this summer. But
well, as long as he doesn't have a fridge full of vodka.
There's a good chance.
There's a reference there. It has to do with Winnipeg Jets 2 and a certain Igor Ulanov who basically was like the Moscow on the Hudson. It was for real. He opened his fridge full of vodka.
What's your choice of vodka?
Mine?
Yeah.
Alberta Springs. Got to support Canadian.
You can pay me to drink that shit.
I'm sorry, he didn't see that one coming.
Okay,
no, usually I go with Smirnoff, usually.
Okay, horrible as well. Next time you come, we're going to get some 3 olives for you to try, or some Finlandia. They're pretty much like Grey Goose, and they're like the same price as Smirnoff.
Well, Grey Goose is pretty good, I have to agree.
Yeah. Well, it's not worth the price, though. If you can get Finlandia and three olives.
You gotta support Canadian though if you can.
Yeah, but I don't have money to support Ricky.
If you guys could see the place I'm living in, it looks like the Taj Mahal. Don't listen to this guy. He's got a pool table where other people have dining rooms.
You're lucky your mom lets you live there still. You should be You should be thankful.
I'm getting knifed here. There's blood on the white furniture.
Here, I'll save you. Let's go drop into Aho here. I have him at 9. 82 games last year. He's pretty much had full seasons for his last 3. 83 points last year. He had a huge breakout year. His surrounding cast this year is going to be what makes the decision. Hamilton, 17 goals last year, and I think he only had like 3 power play goals. Justin Falk has taken he's always had it actually, the first power play, and I think if they move Hamilton in that position, Aho could definitely break the 100-point mark. That's just the only question. If Svechnikov is on his wing too, it's a huge breakout. Svechnikov and Rupins are my 2 breakout candidates.
There are issues with Falk right now. I've been hearing rumors that he may not sign there, and it's too bad because he wants to play on a contender. Hey, Justin, Winnipeg needs a number 4D. Come to Winnipeg. I always liked Justin Falk when he was in the American League.
Maybe that's why they've kept him on the power play to keep his value up. You never know what's actually going on. Because if you look at what Hamilton did in the playoffs, you look what he does in the power play, he's a beast. He's a beast, and he's got hands. He's got a pair of mitts on him. He's good shit.
Carolina's a darn nice hockey team. They might be Final Four.
Their surrounding cast is pretty ridiculous. And the whole fan thing, too. You look at what they were doing last year. It was a fun environment to play in. The fans are having fun. And I think they feed off the crowd there.
Well, they did actually win a cup, didn't they? And I watched it happen. Hello, Gary. But the Jets haven't won a cup. Neither has the Minnesota St. Paul market, but that's a discussion for another time.
Yeah.
We feel entitled, but the bottom line is you got to have good players on the ice with character. And I think Mr. Shoveldayoff is doing a pretty darn nice job of keeping character players here in Winnipeg. I was so sorry to see Lemieux leave, though.
Yeah, that was hard. I'm a huge Stastny fan, too. I would have liked to see him stay there.
There's that Colorado thing again.
Yeah. Hayes is, too much for the 7 mil, but I'm glad they got the pick for him. But no, yeah, I would like Stastny to stay there. But I'm going to grab a beer here. We're going to come back for segment 3. Welcome back, segment 3, Jets Fantasy Field Podcast. We're at number 10 here. I got Sagan coming in hot at 10. 33 goals, 47 assists last year, 80 points. The only thing about Sagan is he's never had more than 84 points in a year, but you can rely on him. He might even break the 90-point points this year, having exposure to Pavelski on the power play. Pavelski's one of the best, if not best, player in front of the net. I'm not sure if I would want to be in front of the net if I was Pavelski, if Sagan was shooting, but with 334 shots last year, it's huge. Having Pavelski screen the goalie, getting the stick on anything coming to his way, is going to be huge for Sagan. I think Hintz having that breakout season this year is going to help them on the power play. Ben's going to have a better year too, so he's looking maybe around the 90-point range, but he's never had more than 84, so I might be reaching, but you're safe because he's going to get at least 80. So he's a safe player. That's why I'm sliding him at 10. And you had Sagan, I think you were around the 7 there, Sean?
I did until the McDavid discussion occurred, and then it was a matter of whether I bump him behind or ahead of Scheifele, and obviously he has to be ahead of Scheifele. But the two that are sitting on the fringe, and I'm a Winnipegger, but I like watching Logan Couture play.
Oh, yeah.
Last year in the playoffs, and I never liked him because of what he did to the Jets when he played against them 3-4 years ago, but he's a good two-way player. And the other one is Monahan in Calgary. I really like Monahan. I don't know if he's a top 10 point getter, but the position that he's in on that team and his curve as
he's 2015 draft too.
Yeah, another one of them. He's like Austin Matthews. He's got that extra something that I can't really describe that seems to draw success. That's why Goudreau's been so successful in my mind. Yeah, I like him quite a lot.
Yeah, he's a hard worker. I do like what I see from him, but I definitely don't have him in my top. I do have Eichel as my last pick, number 11.
Nice.
I know he had him at 2 there.
Well, I have a feeling I watched him play. I have a feeling he's got this gift about him where almost everything he shoots goes in the net. It's incredible.
If you get drafted the player behind McDavid, your whole life you're gonna have that on your shoulders. You got to try harder every year because people are comparing it. Oh yeah,
And he's an American kid who plays like Matthews. Again, I like some of the American style of player. Not all of them. We have some of them here, but I like what I'm seeing in Buffalo with Eichel, and Monahan's another one.
And their line, Reinhardt got 65 points. Skinner got 63 last year, so he does have the surrounding cast.
Oh,
and
yeah.
They're only going to get better with the better decor they have this year.
They're a sleeper team. Nobody sees them coming any more than anybody would see Vancouver coming.
Yeah, it would be nice for their fans. It's been a while since they actually had a team to put out, but at least they have Eichel to watch. He's a beaut to watch.
Oh yeah, he's fun to watch.
He's got a good work ethic, and his shot's really nice. He's a good playmaker. I think having another season of the chemistry with that line will only do better for the team, and he's going to be at the center of it there. He only had 82 points last year, right? But
it's a lot of points.
Only 82 points,
yeah.
But he could break the 100.
I agree.
I have him breaking 90. I don't think he'll quite get to the 100 there, but he's going to break 90 points this year, and that's why I have him at 11 there. Or just miss there. I only have about 5 that I could put in the same spot. First one I do want to talk about. I'm probably getting some hate from my friends there. Tavares, I didn't put him on only because the sole reason of the Marner contract. I'm not sure if Marner will sign. I'm not sure they have the money to do it. If I feel like if they did, it would have been done by now. He's a player. You just pay him whatever he says. I don't care. Watching him last year was ridiculous. Everyone was comparing him to Dougie Gilmour and the new Dougie Gilmour of Toronto. Like, that's a lot to live up to. And Tavares did get 47 goals last year. He could break the 50 this year if Marner signs, but that's a big if you're doing your draft. And if Toronto's willing to do what they did to Nylander, they're going to do that to Marner too. So under the pressure and whatnot, it worked for Nylander. So if they need to save a few million going into mid-December to sign Marner, they will, and they've done it. And that's going to have a huge effect on Tavares' season there. He had a 16.4 shooting percent last year, which is a little higher than his normal. So being around the net and maybe carrying more, he only had 19 power play points last year. That's gonna be huge this year with the acquisition of Barrie and maybe actually getting some normal flow on their power play there. Yeah. You could start to see it mid-season when Nylander came in. It was actually a good power play again. And obviously, Kadri leaving gives them a consistent power play with the Kapanen on there too. You didn't have Tavares on your list.
Nope,
there.
I did not.
Nope.
Mainly because I noticed some trends. I think he peaked in his career this last season and a half, and he's lost a stride. I've watched some of the things that are going on. Same with Stamkos. That's why I didn't put Stammer on my list.
But that's never what he's been known for. Tavares has never been that fast player. What he does is he wins all the battles in the corner. He wins every battle in front of the net. He's a huge, strong core. He's just a very strong player. He's good at the face-offs. He does everything right. He's good at tip shots. He's easy to play.
You could be right about that one. It wasn't easy for me not to put them on for.
As long as he has someone fast on his line, I think he'll be good. But Bergeron, I had as my just miss as well, only because of the injury concern. He's overused to the point where he's playing 60, 65 games a year. Yeah, he had over 56% face-off last year, and each year is pretty equivalent to that. But it's the overwork thing. If they want to use Bergeron properly, this year is the year that he's 34 already. If they want to put him on the power play, the penalty kill, and play him most of the time at even strength, it's not going to work out. They got to drop him from the penalty kill, focus on the power play and the 5-on-5 with that top line. If they give him penalty kills, he's more susceptible to blocking shots, getting injured that way. He's been injured multiple times that way, and they just always put their, like, I would not want Scheifele or Connor on my penalty kill. Like, those are players you got to save for your power play.
You don't want them taking a bullet off the foot.
And then if they don't, they get shit from the critics. The whoever it is, right? But they're just players you don't want blocking
Well,
shots.
not everybody can be an O'Reilly, a tank who has hands.
Yeah, and that kind of came out more in playoffs. But I've always been a big fan. He's just easy to play with. He's been on Team Canada and All Star games for a reason. Well, what was his All Star lineup? It was him, Landeskog, and I forget who.
Wheeler.
Yeah, that lineup was just stupid.
It was embarrassing. Yeah. There's one near miss that I haven't mentioned. Who's the Frenchman in Philly?
Yeah, I actually had him on my next miss. Drew is a huge. It's always a chance with him. That's why I have him just miss. He had 85 points last year. He had 100, over 100 the year before that. I think just about 100. And it's the face-offs. Every time he's in the other end, he won 57.9, so almost 58% of face-offs last year. He's got over 54 average. He only had 23 points in the power play, so if he gets up to the 30 range, he could definitely hit the 90-point range. It's just a huge question of how does the Hayes fit in? Is Nolan Patrick going to actually step up and be the player, the number 2 pick that everyone thought he was going to be? And there's just a lot of ifs, whats, and whens, and is Provorov going to get back to the shape he was in? Obviously, Gosh Despair is a huge asset to the team, but there's just too many questions for me on that line that to the point where it's like Couturier might be their best player. He went right before or right after Scheifele in that draft? Pretty sure
right after.
Yeah,
right after.
So we could have been stuck with him too.
Oh yeah,
but he's a solid player.
He's a big boy. He plays the two-way game, but he also does the battling in the corners for the puck.
That's what I wouldn't mind him having on my squad. But
whatever happened to Briere?
I don't know.
Philly.
Yeah, because he was on Colorado for a bit.
Was that the concussion thing?
I'm not sure. I think he just got ran out of the league where it's like he would show up in playoffs, but he just never played the season. So it's like if you're paying players like that, they gotta show up all year. But he's a good playoff player. Malkin, if anyone's wondering about Malkin, he's never really had a healthy season. Especially Bergeron. I was looking at his stats. He hasn't had an 82 game season ever.
No.
So it's a huge injury concern there, and the same goes with Malkin. Only 68 games last year, 72 points. He's a point per game player, but there's just too many questions with it.
For me, it's not questions. It's just he's playing a two-way North American style of hockey, which is going to take points off the board because he's doing his responsibilities.
He was way better at defense last year.
Oh yeah, and that's going to take points off the board. But actually, as a player, I like Malkin more than I ever actually respected him.
Yeah,
but he's not going to get you 100 points anymore.
No, yeah, just not fantasy relevant, but he's huge. Right. Apparently having a good off season with I think he'll do a little better reaching the 80-point mark with the departure of Kessel. It's that whole stink they had the whole time Kessel was there. They had the beef that to the point where Malkin would second guess what he's doing because Kessel would bitch at him that he wasn't passing him the puck. He wasn't giving him the puck enough. And I don't know, like if it's on every team Kessel's on, Boston traded him for a reason. Toronto traded him for a reason. He's a whiner, and you can see him always whining with the trainers and stuff. I'm not a big Kessel fan. I think Crosby liked playing with him, but Malkin was stuck with him to the point where it's like, dude, if you don't like your teammate, that's part of chemistry. If you're second guessing yourself or you're overpassing, whatever it may be, I think the departure of him makes Malkin a better player. It's just still the injury concern. He plays about 60 games a year, not even sometimes, and it's not a coincidence. This has happened in the last 8 years, more so than Bergeron. So even more of a chance at injury there.
Well, look at these young guys coming up. They're ripped. They've been coached better for longer than a lot of the players who are stars now, and they're hungrier. And when they hit these guys who have been playing for 5, 10, 7 years, it hurts a little more. Look what happens. We see it every time.
Yeah, but the direction the league's going is a little more safe for players. Less fights, less hits. It is faster, but the ways
are a lot faster.
Yeah, so there's a two-sided argument there. It's faster, but they're getting better with the reffing. It's not as many open ice hits or charging or catching players with their heads down. It's like players are getting smarter too, right? So it's a two-way street to it, but I do like the way the game's evolving, and that's why my next miss, Pettersson, is one of these players that are evolving. Some of the passes he made last year, just pay attention. If you have a chance to watch Vancouver
He's a
this year,
beautiful player,
please
yeah.
check out, just watch Pedersen. I don't even care if you watch anyone else. I like Ferland.
Well, look at the idea of having Ferland, Besser, and Pedersen on
Yeah.
on a unit together
And-
with Myers at the point and Oland. I mean, there's a lot
But
of
Besser's that player, the Viney, whoever, they can shoot whatever, but the whole Pedersen, his hockey IQ, watching him play, I remember he made this pass last year.
He's a lot like Gretzky, I have to say.
Yeah.
He is a lot like Gretzky.
Yeah, penalty kill last year. He it looked like he was icing the puck last year. He put it to his perfect place to Besser, and then Besser one-timed it. 'Cause he went
Yeah.
around the team. Like, it was a made play.
It was. And only young guys who know how to play at that level.
Yeah.
Hello, Ehlers and Laine and Scheifele, hopefully coach.
Mhm.
They can play at that level and do those things, but they have to have other people who also are at that level.
Yeah, 66 points for a rookie season. It's not unheard of, but
Not bad.
he could get about 80 this year.
How many
with the
goals did
strong
Tilo Solani get in his rookie year? 76, was it?
cast. The times are changing. All right, we're gonna round this up there. NHL 20 just dropped, so I'm gonna go rip a couple games there. Got the early pass, so
Nice.
I'll have to let you know how it is on the next podcast. But a few updates to the game, so it should be all right.
There hopefully will be some signings of note here in Dub City,
Mhm.
which is code for Winnipeg.
Yep. We'll have fun at the fan fest there, crew. We're outie. Cheers.